I guess qualifies. I saw the little green bar go up, so we'll say that that's good. But hello, everybody, and welcome to the TB&J Open Mic. I'm your host, Tom, and co-hosting with me, as always, is Brooksy. Oopsie. Before we get started, I'm going to do a quick review of our policies. First off, 2-strike heckling policy. First strike, we'll mute you. Second strike, i.e. doing anything weird from your camera, we'll kick you out of the room. Next, we have a 0 tolerance harassment policy. It's really weird that I'm only giving this speech and there's only 2 people in the Zoom room right now. Sorry, 3, Brooks.
It was more like a lecture.
Either way, first strike will mute you. Second strike, doing anything weird from your camera will kick you out of the room. Next, we have a 0 tolerance harassment policy. If you feel that you are being harassed, send private message to either me or Brooks and we'll kick them out. No questions asked. So, Mark, just let us know when Josh starts harassing you.
I will.
Also, when you perform, you can switch to gallery view or pin the timer to see when your 4 minutes are up. Private message me if you need an audible cue, and I'll say 1 minute very gently into the mic when you have 1 minute left. And networkers, don't forget to leave both of your Instagram handles and whatnot in the chat. And for Schrodinger's audience, please note that this is an open mic, so comedians performing actually tonight are all very experienced and very funny. So have really high expectations. Also, the current content being featured on this show is not suitable for all audiences. So you've been warned. And if you want to support the stream, please consider making a donation of any size at districtcomedy.io, or as I like to call it, districtcomedy.io, or Venmo me at districtcomedy. And even if you can't make a donation, consider sharing the stream, because that also helps. And links where to do those things are also in the description, even though now it's all basically at districtcomedy.io. But let's get things started with me. Yeah! Woo, 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 woo. I don't really have a set prepared tonight. If you can tell, I am a little bit under the weather. But you know what they say, laughter's the best medicine. So I was like, I'm still gonna host this, and also like maybe get some medicine, you know, give that a shot for once. Maybe some water, hydrate a little. I hear that's also good for people. But it kind of sucks because I'm not feeling great, and I also have my performance evaluation at work tomorrow. So I have to go in even though I'm sick. But I'm basically just saying I am allergic to injustice because they're trying to extend my probationary period, and I don't think it's fair because I did nothing wrong. That's not a joke. I just know that this is the main time where I can share with you because you're all my friends. I really appreciate that you have to listen to me kind of for 4 minutes, even though I probably should have started a timer because who knows how long I'll go. But really excited. No, we'll just call it there. I'm really excited for the lineup tonight. I won't make you guys, listen to me rant about library stuff. And we're just gonna jump into it with our first comedian on the set list out of Who's Here, which is let me bring up the participants actually, because as I predicted, some people jumped in. Oh my god, our first person is here. Okay, I am gonna give it up for the funniest comment. Wow. Reach that. Oh my god. I'm about to vomit. What's up, everybody? Give it up for our first comic, funniest comedian, whose name only I can pronounce. Amira Abu Al-Sad. Woo, 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 woo.
Cute.
Oh, sorry. I hit add spotlight instead of replace. Okay, give it up, everybody, for Amira.
Cool. All right. So I just rejoined an Arab dating app. So if anyone has a secret crush on me, let me know now, because I'm gonna marry a doctor. If you ever have a crush on a comedian and you're too shy to ask them if they're single, don't worry, they'll mention it during their set. I'm single. I was really upset that it didn't work out between me and this guy that I was dating because I lost a follower. Have you ever had a platonic dream and like about your crush, and it's like you're already friend zoned, and it's like in the movie like My Best Friend's Wedding, it's like I don't know, it's like the worst. It's probably from my religious upbringing. So I was in physical therapy the other day, and she's like, "Wow, you're so flexible." I'm like, "Thanks. Tell your hot single friends." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, only if they're rich. I mean, have a good heart. That's why." I get my gigs like I get my men when someone can't come. So I close my eyes so I don't get wrinkles. I need to stop doing it while I'm driving. My sister went to college and now she gets flashed at work. So I'm not gonna go to college. It's not worth it. If you're not familiar, some arranged marriages are like the first meeting, you'll meet them with their like mom or dad or something, and the mom will hug you and like pat you down like TSA to look for hidden fat. She didn't find any hidden fat on me, but she did find my 38. Second date, you can show them more of your hairline. We wear a scarf usually. Third date, you'll bring a 7-year-old with you as like a chaperone to make sure you guys don't touch, like an American date. We go to Chuck E. Cheese, all right, so you guys touch on your third dates? Is that different? Oh, that's not a typical American date. So I'm trying to get a job as a medical secretary so I can marry a doctor. And I go in wearing a wedding dress to save time. My brother was over the other day and my dad offered him some shrimp and he was like, "Oh no thanks," so casually. And I was like, he's allergic, don't give him any shrimp. And he's like, "I'm not allergic." But my throat just closes up, breaking out. Like, great, he's 20 years old and doesn't know what allergic means. The other day I visited my mom and she lives in the basement of the house with her mom on the top floor. And so she like locks her in the basement because she's scared of her. And I slept downstairs, locked downstairs, and I didn't know that she was gonna lock it. And so she like put the TV on and she was like, it was really loud and like, bright noise and stuff. So I just put the blanket over my head and she's like, "Oh, you can't breathe like that." I'm like, "I know, I'm trying to die." Like, if you asked grandma, you could have told her like you don't like being locked down in the basement. I'm like, "Oh, really? If that's so sweet, she wouldn't have locked me in the basement." Some grandmas give you candy when you come over. Mine hides it. Says it's because we're fat. I'm like, you could just not buy candy, right? Thank you so much. That's my time.
Keep it going for Amira, everybody. Oh my god, we have so much in common. I am also trying to die. At least my allergies would indicate that. I'm also allergic to cats, but also have a cat and love rubbing my face on him. But I just saw that the actual first comic who was supposed to go is now in the room, so I'm gonna introduce him next. He always loves it when I make up introductions for him. Give it up for the one, the only, the headshot. I'm just going to keep talking over him, trying to buy himself more time, which ironically is going to buy him the time that he needs. He's not actually wearing a gray shirt. He's wearing a wife beater. Give it up for Ralph. No,
I just got out of class and I got to go to the bathroom.
Okay, well,
you're set while
that being
peeing.
said, we're going to go to the next person on our set list while Ralph Anthony takes a shit. Please give it up for the Canadian who recently learned what a New England was. Give it up for Desiree Walsh. Woo, 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 woo.
It's true, I did learn what a New England was. It's the first 6 states of America. I can't remember the names of them, but one of them is Connecticut. One of them is Connecticut. Anyways, that has nothing to do with my set. Most of you know this. I'm in a wheelchair. If you didn't know that, surprise, I'm in a wheelchair. There's a funnier joke, but I have to get to new stuff. I really, really like Zoom comedy. It's been really good for me. mainly because I can finally do stand-up comedy and use the bathroom between sets. For those of you who may not be aware, in Toronto, where I live, because I am Canadian and that's a Canadian city, so that's why I live there. Most of the bathrooms are in the basement in comedy venues, so you need working meat legs to use them. And I got no working meat legs, is what I'm saying. But I like walkies. Is this what it's like to be able-bodied? Because oh my god, it's fucking fun. Like, no wonder you are so smug. This being physically comfortable all the time is amazing. like I knew about your trick about on the road trips. You pull over and you go get food and then you come back to the car in like 5 minutes, but you did not tell me about this being physically comfortable stuff. It's amazing. Yeah. I've actually really enjoyed the pandemic because of that. I know it's weird that like a woman with a compromised immune system is like pro-pandemic. I am really sorry that so many people had to die, but it's been a good year for me. Mostly because of the access to the toilet. My set is very classy. I'm a very classy woman. I'm also single. There's no joke there. Amira just said we have to say that. So yeah. In Toronto, they were trying to open things up for a little bit, but it didn't really work. But when they did, my friend was like, "It sucks that like they're opening things up, but you can't use the public bathrooms." And I said, "Welcome to being a disabled woman. I've been expecting you." And then she said, "And they opened the clothing stores, but you can use the change room, so you just have to take all your stuff home and hope for the best." And I said, again, "Welcome to being a disabled woman. We've been expecting." And then they shut everything down, and she was like, "This sucks. We can't go outside." And I said, "Welcome to being a disabled woman. The world does not want you outside." On that cheery note, I'm gonna leave you. Bye.
Give it up for Desiree, everybody. Okay, real quick. Next up, for real this time, I want you to put your hands together for the second person ever to take a shit during one of the district comedy shows. Now 10 pounds lighter. Give it up for Ralph Anthony. Woo-hoo!
Yeah. Oh boy. Hell yeah. Hell fucking dude. If I lost 10 pounds from taking a shit, I think I might have shit out a tumor. I might have just shit out my entire intestine. I just want to keep saying more gross things so Mark keeps making those faces.
Yeah.
That's the best. Oh man. No, I don't know why I feel the need to tell you guys this. Yeah, no, definitely not a shit. Just had to really, really pee. And like Desiree said, Zoom comedy allows me to run to the bathroom. So I know. Give it up for meat legs. Yeah, hell yeah. I tell you what, I'm getting older, and I find that as I'm getting older, I am constantly embarrassing myself for no apparent reason. Just normal daily activities that people do just become gag reels for me. It's terrible. Like I'd like to think that I'm an intelligent human being. But apparently, according to society, I am a fucking moron. Last week, my girlfriend got invited to a wedding, which is what normal adults do. They get invited to weddings, except on this invitation, it said the wedding attire was a black tie affair. To which I looked at my girlfriend in the face and said, "Oh yeah, that's no problem. I think I have a black tie." When did black tie not mean black tie? Was there a meeting on this? Like, did people vote and they said, no, we're going to really fuck with people that grew up poor and try to act classy by saying a black tie really means a fucking black tuxedo. Can we just agree to the language that everyone else has decided upon, please? I am an only child. Not the reason why I'm a moron, but I just there's a lot of justification for it. I'm an only child. My girlfriend is an only child. She has one daughter, making her an only child. And I don't know if you guys know this, but it's against the law for 3 only children to live together. So now when she says she wants me to move in, I don't know if she actually wants me to move in or she just has baby fever. I love being an only child, but listen, only children, we're messed up. See, the cop's probably going to arrest an only child right now. I love being an only child, but only children are messed up. Listen, we're so fucked up in the head that the biggest compliment you can give us is to say, hey, you don't seem like an only child. It's the only thing that it happens for. No one ever says, you know, you seem like a middle child, Mark. You know, no, it's weird. It's so strange. You know, we have very different childhoods too. Very different childhoods compared to kids that had siblings. See, when you're an only, like I wasn't my parents' child. I was their independent contractor. You know, when it's just you, you're the maid and the landscaper. And I grew up in the 80s, so that meant I was also the remote control. All right, you guys are great. Thank you.
Everybody. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna reset this timer and rant for a second before we move on to the next comic because I just got a work email at 10 p.m. at night.
Wow.
And I just gotta say, what is so goddamn important at the library that you gotta email me at 10 o'clock at night about it? Like,
unionize.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, you know who's not going to rant probably? It's this guy because he's a cheerful dude from Canada. Give it up for Mark Hallworth.
Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks, Tom. Jesus, me, you really just fucking start this show, eh? Like 10 p.m. You go for it. You're going through. You're on the list. You're on. Ralph's got to take a shit. He can go to hell now. Forget your fucking bladder. It's comedy. And Brooks is trying as hard as he's like putting the running order in the chat. I mean, one time he put the running order and then it just underneath wrote or whatever. I don't know, man. Poor guy. But yeah, sorry about that. You could hear that, eh, Ralph? The fucking the cops or whatever. Don't worry about me, guys. I'm totally safe. Don't worry, because I live in a place with bars on the window. Don't worry about me. I am doing a-okay. Rock on. Okay, yeah, I don't think this should take that long. I just wanted to do this one bit about my second favorite job. I used to work as a tour guide on double-decker buses. You've seen those old British buses, man. I was working here in Toronto, and man, I was just making up everything. Nobody's listening. It was the best. You can get away. One time we came out from under a bridge, and I was like, "That's the sun, everybody. The sun was invented in 1941." You just go off. And from a guy in Toronto who lived in this condo, people like taking photos. One guy stood up to take photos of the sun. I was like, you're barely listening, for sure. You've never seen the sun? But what I learned about it, yeah, man, have fun at your job. Because, yeah, I don't think anyone's listening. Yeah, Tom, I don't think anyone really cares at the library, man. Check it out. In 4 years of working as a tour guide, I only got one complaint. And let's review. I should have gotten so many complaints. Even though I was like berating people like I was Chef Ramsay. I was like screaming at people. one time this kid was like running up and down the aisle jabbing people, and his dad was like, "Oh, does little Sebastian need containing?" And I was like, "Yeah, he does, in a body bag."
Oh.
And people started clapping for me. I was like, "This is so inappropriate. I shouldn't be allowed to do this." One time I was so drunk at work that I threw up off a double-decker bus during the tour. Like, can you imagine I made that part of the city of Toronto, the experience? We're just passing the intersection of Spadina and Bloor. Okay. One time I booted a crackhead out of the bus. There's no door, these old British buses. Anybody can just jump in, and this crackhead was like, "Me!" It was scary. And you know me, yeah, I try to be nice. I don't know where this came from. I was like, "Not today!" Boom! And he went flying, and a family from Indiana cheered. Like, it was the best day of my life. So yeah, clearly people should have been complaining. Nah, man, the only complaint I got was from some lady who phoned in, I guess, and they were like, "I did the 2-hour tour with Mark, and he spoke about drugs for 55 straight minutes." And even worse, drugs and the gays. That's your complaint. Well, make some noise, Zoom, if you're like me and you clearly think a nonstop tour about drugs and gays would be awesome. That should be the tour, right? Nonstop drugs and gays, nonstop stiffies and spliffies. Yeah, what a party. That should be. There's no way I really did that too. You're telling me people were like, "You passed my hotel." I'm like, "Your hotel's just a concept, bro." So have fun at your job. That's what I mean. If that's the tour you thought I was giving, I should have said way crazier stuff. People are like, "The Royal Ontario Museum, the ROM. Is this a good place?" I'm like, "It's a good place to suck a dick." The ROM, more like the rim. Am I right, boys? Yeah. Right. That's my time. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Keep it going for Mark Hallworth, everybody. Up next, he can probably verify whether or not the sun was actually invented in 1941 because he is the history wizard. Please give it up for Oscar Carvajal. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
The sun was actually invented in 1943. Yeah, 41. They had to replace. There was the old 41 was the old one. Yeah, man. Yeah, and I just put a history wizard because the only times that I've done this mic, there was you guys always bothered me that I never have an introduction. But yeah, so let's do history jokes. Let's talk about the Trojan War, right? You know what I learned on the Trojan War? I learned that the biggest difference between Greeks and Mexicans is that the Greeks had to build the Trojan horse to get through that wall. And Mexicans, I feel like we would have just climbed it, right? Like maybe like dug a tunnel underneath, paid a coyote a few thousand for show secret path through, right? Like we have more experience in crossing walls, is what I'm trying to say, right? Like in the Iliad, it says that it took the Greeks 10 years to get through that wall. Now, this is a true story. When I was a little kid, this lady that used to live with us got deported back to Mexico. Within 3 days, she was back in Chicago, right? Like, I feel like the Greeks didn't need Odysseus and Ajax, man. They needed like Paco and Pablo to show them a way through, right? Like, the story would have been a lot shorter. But there was no Latinos in the Trojan War, right? They're not mentioned anywhere in the Trojan War, which is very suspect, considering that the main character's name is Hector, right? I never met a Hector that wasn't Latino, man. Like, most famously, when I was growing up, there was a Puerto Rican boxer named Hector Macho Camacho. Like, I feel like without swords, just with gloves, I feel like he could take on Achilles, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a trained boxer, dude. Like, in the 5th round, he'll punch him in the heel, then Achilles will be too weak, knocks him out in the 6th, right? Like, I feel that's possible, man. Yeah, man. Here's the thing about the Trojan War, though. Here's the thing. When you look at it, it all comes down to a whole war happened because some dude was mad that his wife left him. That's it. Like, that's where the whole war comes from. My opinion on that is just like people change, man. Feelings evolve. You know, relationships end. You know, wives leave husbands all the time. Like, get over it. You know, like work on yourself, right? Like, get a therapist, bro. Pick up a new hobby. Like, You're the king of Sparta. Somebody will love you again, right? Like, no need to cry over this. No need to make an international incident about this, right? No need to gather the strongest warriors in Greece to pillage a whole city, man. I don't know, but you know what, man? Like, I like history a lot, and I decided to write more jokes about history. It's one of my passions, which is weird. Which is weird that I decided to start with the Trojan War, because the Trojan War is not history, right? Like, it most likely didn't happen, or definitely did not happen the way it's told. But here's the secret: people that like history like the Trojan War. You know, even though it's a myth, people that it's like, which is weird. Because, which is weird. This would be like if astronomers secretly liked astrology, right? Like, if you had like a convention of astronomers, instead of discussing like Pluto's planetary status, they were discussing like why Mercury's in retrograde affects them, right? Like, they'll be like, I'm in Capricorn, that shit affects me, right? And then after the Trojan War, it was the Odyssey, right? The Iliad and the Odyssey were the two books. And the Odyssey, this guy comes back from the Trojan War. It takes him 10 years. So he left for 20 years, and he expects to come back and his wife not to cheat on him, right? Like, you can't leave somebody for 20 years and expect them not to cheat on you, right? Like, if I left my girl for 20 years and she didn't cheat on me, I would dump her, right? Just out of principle, dog. Like, who doesn't cheat in 20 years? You got some issues to resolve. Go look at that therapist the King of Sparta's looking at and fix him up. All right, man, that's my time. And thank you very much.
Woo, 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 woo. Give it up, everybody, for the history wizard. And replay spotlight. Reset timer. All right. Speaking of history, me and this next comedian have a lot of history because we did improv together for like 8 years. He's also the co-host of this mic. It's just a really nice introduction with no jokes. Give it up for my good friend whose wedding party I'm in, Brooksy Poopsie.
Yeah, all right, you guys. Everybody's favorite part, cancel mic, where I say something dumb and get myself canceled again. Oscar, I got to tell you, man, I really appreciated the history jokes because one of my best jobs was working at medieval times. And this is something kind of notable about medieval times. They said that the story was set in medieval Spain. But 3 of the knights' names were D, Kansas, and Chad. I cannot think of any less Spanish names than those 3 things, except for maybe Winston. I don't know. Yeah, way to roast a comic that we all know and isn't here. So we're getting a lot of cicadas now in Maryland, and I actually identify a lot with cicadas because they're basically the frat boy of bugs. Like, you have this big thing that really only comes out every once in a while, and as soon as it emerges, it just makes really loud screaming sounds and bumps into everything. Okay, less spirit animal jokes on that one. That's fine. I'm starting to realize I live in a bad neighborhood, and it's not because of the crime. It's not because of traffic or bad schools. It's because I'm not walking distance to a greasy, cholesterol-filled breakfast sandwich. Like, I can go next door and get like a high-end artisan bread with a fine prosciutto thing, but if I can't stumble hungover to get a combination of Wonder Bread, fake American cheese, overly salted meats that will give me cancer, and the egg of a really depressed chicken, I might as well be getting shot at. Okay, that needs work. This is the favorite part of the mic, where I tell jokes that don't land except for Oscar's pity laugh, and then I get drunk in front of the camera. I tell you guys I have depression. It's weird though. I went to a therapist. I went to a therapist, and they were like, "We have depression." I'm like, no shit. And they're like, "We can give you these meds, but the side effects are you're going to gain weight, and you won't be able to get an erection." Now, here's the thing. Cookies make me gain weight. Cookies give me an erection. And they make me feel better. So why don't I just eat a bunch of cookies? All right, this is the part of the mic. Isn't this great? Me just drinking to the camera and confessing my mental health problems. We all do, because therapy's expensive, man. I am not single. I'm gonna do a twist on the Amira joke. I'm actually getting married, and wedding planning is interesting because we're looking at a rental place. And one of the things that they said that we could rent were poor quality white chairs. I'm impressed by the openness of this, like just the marketing behind this. It's like, hey, do you want to make your parents sit in gum? Do you want your grandma to definitely fall through this during the ceremony? Do you want the happiest day of your life to definitely end in a liability lawsuit? Then buy our poor quality white chairs. All right, you guys, I'm going to do everyone a favor and call that my time. No, I'm not. I'm going to drink for 10 more seconds and force you guys to watch me.
Yay.
2, 1. All right, you guys, I'm really excited for our next comedian because they won't be confessing their mental health demons directly into the camera. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now, guys, you will either get all of the eye contact or none at all. Give it up for Paul Kilmer.
Yeah.
I have autism. I'm going to address all the mental health problems of the United States, but before I do that, I'm going to do this trick with my rainbow circle. This part where you clap.
Oh shit! What's up, dude? Hell yeah!
I shouldn't tell you what to do as an audience, but it made me feel better. Thank you for letting me have the control, and I will give the control back. The safety word is potato. I'm sure you understand what that means. All right, so the rainbow circle is something I do for my kid shows. The demographics 2 through 6. I'm not roasting anybody right now. Tom, this one's for you. Boom.
Whoa.
It's a rainbow square. I know, it's crazy. It's like I actually know what I'm doing. Like, this is my job. Oh, it's a rainbow cane. I told you you wouldn't be disappointed, or at least that's what I told my dad when he came back into my life, which is a part of the mental illness I have. So my dad passed away in 2008, and the last thing he ever told me was a joke that he wanted me to put in my comedy act, which was a children's magic show that the demographic was 2 through 6. This joke is terrible, and understand that I have autism, and if you try to cancel me, you're a bad person.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you this joke, but please understand that he's the one who told it to me. I'm just going to do a card trick. All right. You're not ready for the joke. All right. There we go. That's it.
What?
I know. It's like I said, people pay me for this. If I wasn't good by now, I would have to go back to college. The funny thing about leaving community college was I scored second to the last person in the entire college, and they knew that I wasn't going to be able to take the test. See, I don't have the type of autism that makes you smart. I have the type of autism that makes me terrible on tests. Thanks, Dad. Because technically it's his fault. It's okay, he's dead. That was a callback to an earlier terrible joke about my dad. Anyway, I forgot what I was doing, and I don't have any idea what time I have, but I'm gonna do this anyway, and I'm sure Tom or Brooke will cut me off.
50
Brooke
seconds.
will cut me off. Huh?
45.
Shit.
Do the trick. We got time.
Oh, okay, so let's just disrespect everybody in the room. I get it. That was him, not me. I respect you guys. So what's gonna happen is Brooks, say stop for me.
Stop.
Memorize that card.
Go.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the cards because I need to for this part of the trick. Josh Mandel understands. What's gonna happen? I gotta shuffle the cards. Boom. I bet you can't do that, and if you can, it doesn't matter. All right. I have a prediction. I'm going to predict the future. I invite everybody here to pick a card in their head. I have an open gambling debt at Mohegan Sun. It's not legitimate, and I'm probably gonna die, so I need this money. Looking at you, Ralph. I know you have it. Anyway, so this is what's gonna happen. I wish I did a lot of drugs like Ralph.
I don't.
He told me to say that. Anyway, so look, I have a card with every single card on it.
Okay.
This is why no one likes me anymore. I don't want to die, and I am right now. I'm dying, literally and figuratively. I'm just kidding. I knew what your card was. I'm gonna give the negative time that I would have had back to the room, and I hope you guys have a good one. Full disclosure, Ralph didn't tell me to say that. I'm an asshole.
All right, you guys, keep it going for Paul Kilmer. All right, I am very excited for our next comedian. Please give it up for Josh.
Thank you, Brooks. Wow. You really, I write for Brooks, and it's one of the proudest things I can say about my comedy career. I write for the intros, I mean. All of his jokes are original. I'm Josh. You guys know that. I'm 19, and when I tell people that, they usually say, "Are you sure about the teen?" I had a weird week. I actually had a cancer scare this week. I walked into my room, and my brother jumped out of my closet and yelled "cancer," and I was like, that was terrifying. That never happens again. I went to the proctologist. Well, I mean, which I was annoyed by because I'm 19. You know, like I feel like I should still think the proctologist is the guy who hands out the SAT. And so I go to his office, and I'm like, dude, my butt hurts. And he was like, yeah, you sound like you have something called perianal pain. And I was like, I don't know why you're talking about a guy named Perry with the worst possible last name, but let's return to the fact that my butt hurts. And he said, okay, I'm gonna take a look at you. Just bend over. And I bent over, and then he took a look in me, which I was surprised about because of the previous use of the word "at." So look at. You should really touch up on your grammar there, dude. And so he's, does he's in me, and I say, "Oh, hey doc, are you married?" And he goes, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And I said, "I can feel your ring. Can you please draw it back a little bit?" And yeah, and I'm in the human puppet position, and this dude is trying to have like a serious conversation with me. He's trying to have like an actual. He's like, what do you think about them pulling the troops out of Afghanistan? I'm like, dude, before we talk about that, you gotta pull the troops out of my ass. I can't have this conversation like this, man. I was like, by the way, you're circumcised, right? And he's like, yeah, how'd you know? And I was like, you're standing a little close, and plus your last name's Goldberg, so it's pretty much a given. It was a weird experience. He had 2 forks in his pocket, in his breast pocket, 2 plastic forks. Which like immediately I was like, can I get a doctor with some medical equipment? That's more comforting. You know what I mean? I don't need to be thinking of the fruit salad this guy's going to be eating later after he hopefully washes his hands. But yeah, it's a weird job. Can't blame him. I'm thankful to the doctor. I had one more thing. Oh yeah. I feel like a lot of times Like you'll hear people go, "You can't do that, for crying out loud. It's 2021." And I just like wonder how long that has been going on. You know, where people like, you should know not to sit on the edge of a well, for crying out loud. It's 6. In their defense, Humpty Dumpty had not come out in 6, which was that was a good cautionary tale for some of us. I'm gonna donate my 29 seconds back to the people who donated it to me in the first place. So thank you guys for having me on. Bye guys. I'm Josh. Have a good night.
All right, you guys, keep it going for Josh, who was very bold to admit that my terrible set was written entirely by me. Not taking credit for it at all. Like, you keep that bad juju away from me, Brooks. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna do a quick room check. All right, our final comedian of the night. Please give it up for the guy who inspired several Stephen King stories, AJ Cappuccio.
Hello. So I'm getting new teeth in 2 weeks, so I'm gonna have to like retire the bit pretty soon. Yeah. I have some history jokes. Why did Garfield hate Mondays?
Why?
Because that's what day it was when he got assassinated. I've been to Busch Gardens, not the one you're thinking of. This one doesn't have roller coasters or bushes, just an aircraft carrier shaped topiary and a guy doing portraits. Someone asked me if I was related to somebody she knew in Massachusetts because our last names were similar.
Pucho.
Yeah, some people are married by blood, some by marriage, and others by similarity. Yeah, we're related. There was just a mix-up at Ellis Island. I decided to try out the shipping container home thing. Make sure your shipping container isn't active before you decide to move into it. Unless you want to wake up in Singapore. Tents or just clothing with a skeleton. Carhartt has made reversible jackets, so that way you can flip it around and reverse it no matter how hard you have to work it. I was hiking and I came across a fellow outdoorsman wearing no shirt or shoes but had Patagonia shorts, hat, and backpack. Now, I get it. Just because you're minimalist doesn't mean you can't indulge. But if you decided you didn't need shoes for something you definitely need shoes for, what did you bother to put in your bag? A Cliff Bar, a pair of Tevas? I don't know which Joe Rogan show is scarier, the one where they have to eat bugs or the one where they talk to flat earthers. Yeah, when you're driving down the highway and it says on the signs, if the light is flashing, tune into 1610 AM for vital information. I'm like, no, I'm not turning off the Joe Rogan podcast for nothing. If there's something I need to know, it's going to be there and not on 1610 AM. And Joe Rogan didn't say nothing about construction or traffic. I depend heavily on spell check, so much so that I don't even try to spell the word right. But if it doesn't give me the word I want, I get really pissed. Like, it's the Turner literacy test. I mean, don't insult my intelligence. I did make a reverse calculator. It creates more problems than it solves. Yes. Yep. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, keep it going for AJ Cappuccio. Guys, we have been relatively quiet in the chat, except for my trying to figure out the set list. So be sure to plug your pluggables for everything going on. That is our final comedian for the night. Tom, you want to close us out?
Yeah, I do. Also, there's our Instagram in the chat. And by that, I mean, I run it, but it has like all the district comedy stuff on it. But yep, that's all the time we have. That's all the comics we have for tonight. I want to just really quickly give a big thank you to all the comedians who performed tonight. Oh, we're very funny. My awesome co-host Brooks, you were very funny, and you're good at drinking. And to you, our audience, if you enjoyed the show and want to support the stream, please consider making a donation of any size at districtcomedy.io. Have a great night, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.